You don't want to be the dad who bet the kid's college on this business that failed. Mm-hmm. In my mind, they're going to write articles of like, this new startup is challenging Netflix. I want to have the last word, okay? And I don't care.
And if legacy could talk, what sentences would you want it to say about your life?
Hey, that's a question.
Everyone ready? Yeah? Welcome to Conversation with Haych. What's going on, people? Welcome to Conversations with Haych, and we have an incredible guest with us today. One of my favorite multifaceted creators from the Playmakers, if you go back that far. He also owns his own studios. Studios. NAACP Image Award winner?
Yeah.
Soon to be three times,
isn't it?
But 2-time New York Times bestseller with Marriage Be Hard.
Yep.
Executive producer, lead actor, and creator of Churchy, which is on BET. He is one half of the Unruly Cousins. He is also one half of the Bold Brothers. One of the man them, bruv, as he likes to say. I introduce to you Kevin Fredericks.
What's up, y'all?
How are y'all?
What's up, Haych?
What's going on, Kev? You okay?
I'm okay. I want to tell y'all before we start, this brother, to make this interview happen, drove 3 hours, woke up at 2 a.m, drove 3 hours, and he set all this up. He gonna go back to Birmingham, and then come all the way back to the show. It ain't worth all that for me. I appreciate it. I'm very grateful. I wouldn't go 3 hours to see myself. My son had me do all that. I said, brother, we gonna do the morning or we gonna do the night. If I'm gonna do the interview, I ain't gonna do the show. If I'm gonna do the show, I ain't gonna do the interview. Or I'm gonna stay all day. That man said he was dedicated to the craft. He made it work. I appreciate that.
And you know what it is? Because obviously I've been trying to get this done for a few years now.
Few years.
And then you were like, okay, I can do 8:30 in the morning. And I said, there's a saying that Tabitha Brown likes to say, which is, obedience is better than sacrifice. But with obedience comes a level of sacrifice.
Yeah.
So obviously I had to sacrifice some sleep.
Yes.
To get this done.
Yeah.
Because we don't know when you're coming back.
Brother. And this is the reason it's been hard is because I never have this much time.
Yeah.
So it worked out, and I appreciate the commitment. Because you weren't even like bothersome. You were just like, yo, you gonna be talking to me?
I was like, if you can.
Yeah. And you were like, even this time, you're like, if not, we'll catch you next time. So no, I appreciate it.
So let's go back a little bit. If your parents were in this room right now, how would they describe you when you were younger?
I was funny. I was a well-behaved kid. People think I was just this bad kid.
Yeah.
I was into stuff.
Okay.
But I wasn't just like, I was, obviously never disrespectful to my parents or siblings. I think they'd probably say a funny, well-mannered kid. I think that's probably what they would say. What
were you into when you were younger? You said you were into stuff.
Man, I was obviously playing, and we didn't have a lot of money, so we couldn't get toy guns from KB stores. So it was like taking the vacuum attachments and makeshifting something, or me and my brother used to play with cap guns. I don't know.
Yeah.
We used to get it, but we didn't have the gun didn't work, so we had rocks that we would like slide across the caps and stuff. So just stuff like that, man. Yeah. Just outside playing football, playing knee football. It was just. That was football on your knees.
Yeah.
Wait. American football. But yeah, just in the mix.
Yeah.
Just in the mix. Yeah.
So when you were younger, did you see yourself being the KevOnStage you see today?
I wouldn't say that, no. I did always believe I was going to be great, though.
Okay.
That's the absolute truth.
Yeah.
I always thought I would travel when I was a kid. I was like, I'm going to travel for a living, for what I do. I thought I was going to the NBA.
Okay.
For a long time.
Okay.
This is not a surprise to many that I did not make it to that.
You was close, though.
Yeah,
JV.
Close. JV.
You was
4
close.
years.
You was close.
But I always thought I would be great. Once I knew basketball was over, I was like, okay, then whatever the next thing is that I do, I'm going to be great.
Yeah.
And I think once I found entertainment, I was like, oh, I can do this, and I won't have to retire at 30, 35.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll just be getting started, really. So yeah, I felt like I would always be great.
You talked about going into entertainment. When did you have that shift of, okay, this is now something that can work for me?
My career hasn't had I've never had a big boom.
You don't think?
I don't think where it's like, and I mean like over, like what I mean by boom is like Tiffany had a career prior to Girls Trip.
Yeah.
But Girls Trip, it was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she took off like a rocket. Mm-hmm. And that's not the case for everybody. A lot of people build steadily, but a lot of other people, you know, that they have the big movie, the show, the special that sets them apart. So far, my career has been incremental success. Mm-hmm. I think, but the moment where I felt like, okay, this is actually going to work the way I thought it was going to work was the first year that we did the Real Comedians tour.
Yeah.
And I was doing this thing where I said, if you know you're going to come see me no matter what, I'll charge you $15. And the show will be within an hour of your downtown.
Yeah.
And once I pick the venue, if it's too far, you can get a refund. And the amount of tickets I sold in the first day was like, oh my God, the amount of money that I had.
Yeah. See,
that tour was probably 5 or 6 months. And I remember roundabout at that time, the Eventbrite is the ticketing service I use. Yep. They would, if people pay by PayPal, which almost everybody did, you got the money instantly.
Okay.
Now, post-COVID, they don't do that because they don't pay you until the show is done. Because you cancel, now you kept these people's money. So I was getting all this ticket revenue, and I remember the tour started in like January, February, and it went to like June or July, I believe, roughly. By March, I had made enough that if I didn't sell one more ticket, I could pay Tony and Tahir and play for all the flights and hotels. And I still had like a lot of big markets left. So at that point, I was like, oh, this is going to work. Like,
oh, wow.
And the revenue that tour generated, I was like, barring me getting canceled, if I can just make this much money, I'll be able to do what I've made it. And what I mean by made it, to me, making is just being able to do what I want for a living. It's not being filthy rich. I remember Dave Chappelle was telling a story about how he asked his dad if he thinks teachers are successful. And he was like, yeah, because he was trying to be a comedian. And he was like, I don't need to be rich. If I can make what a teacher makes doing comedy, I'm happy. 60 grand, 80 grand. And that's for me, like, I want to travel. I want to spend time with my family. I want to do what I love for a living. I don't have to be filthy rich. I think a lot of people chase fame. Fame is wildly inconvenient and not nearly what it's cracked up to be. It can be a good thing because it helps me do what I want to do, but I don't chase fame or money or anything like that. Like I always say, my true goal is when my kids have kids or they're married 20 years from now, they want to come back to me and my wife's house for Christmas, for the holidays, and we're still happy and together. Yeah, that's the goal, and have a private plane. Everything else is,
private plane, family Christmas, private plane.
Yeah, that's a 1-2 punch.
So, with Melissa being someone who's about stability, with you being a dreamer, how did you transition your dreamerness, as a made up word, into her stability, and then you guys kind of coexist moving forward?
I don't think I transitioned into her dreamerness. I mean, I don't think I relinquished that.
Okay.
I think I used the best parts of me and the best parts of her. At first, I would take her approach as like criticism or not believing in me, when really it's the analogy she gave me was the kite and the string. A kite without a string will fly and fall. A string with no kite can't fly at all. Either way, separate, they both end up on the ground.
Yep.
So I think together I'm able to dream and she's able to ground and kind of control. And I think that allows it to work together. I think, lately I've been trying to be more open to her criticism because she knows me very well, better than I know myself. And I know that's cliche, but I think in my case, it's actually true. She knows what I'm thinking, even my subconscious thoughts, and she can predict my behavior because, we've been together 25 years since we were 16. She knows how I think and how I move and how I execute, and she knows where I'm trying to go. So sometimes she'll be like, I know what you're thinking, and I know how you think, but I think you need to think like this if you want this to be that. If you want it to be this, then the way you're thinking is fine. If you want it to be that, you need to be open to that. So that's very helpful if I listen. And I am listening more than I did earlier.
So in that, what's one of the biggest things that you tried to do that didn't work out?
KevOnStage Studios, the app.
It worked for a while.
No, it did, but people will think I'm being funny. I was like, in my mind, they're going to write articles of like, this new startup is challenging Netflix. KevOnStage Studios is challenging Netflix. They're going to write Forbes articles. That you're smiling, but in my mind, if you're not going to take down Netflix, what's the point of even trying?
Yeah, you got to aim for the top.
You got to. Netflix wasn't Netflix before. ESPN wasn't ESPN. Somebody had to make them that. WWE wasn't WWE. Men built these things. They were built. Why can't I build something that people don't believe in? Now, one of the things I did not have is the millions of dollars that they had capital-wise. So to me, I really struggled when I had to close KevOnStage Studios, because to me it was like a massive failure because it was based on what I thought it could be.
Yeah.
And I think under just different circumstances it could have been more. But because it wasn't what I thought doesn't mean it wasn't anything. You know, a friend of mine was saying, she was like, if you got a TV show for 3 years and after 3 years you got canceled, you wouldn't be like, I was a failure. You'd be like, man, I had 3 seasons. That's cool. Like, I ain't tripping 3 or 4 seasons, you know. And I've started to think of it like that. Like, it's something that I got 3 or 4 seasons out of, you know, 2 good seasons, 2.5, the network cut back on our episodes, you know what I'm saying? Last season really wasn't hitting on nothing. But, you know, most of the show Martin that Black people love so much, most of the episodes that we love are in the first 2 seasons. And Martin, I think, was only like 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And half of one was like Gina wasn't a part of it. So we don't remember those episodes as much. So a thing doesn't have to last for a long time to be good.
Here's a question. If you had the money, would you bring KevOnStage Studios app back?
No.
And why?
I just learned this term. Somebody wrote a LinkedIn post about me. And I didn't even know that's how people were using LinkedIn. I thought people was getting jobs on there. I said, what is this? This is content. What are you talking? Do you need a job?
Yeah.
What is this? But he said, I think the thing that killed us, 2 things. Binge and bounce is the term he used. Binge and bounce is where a user will let, you know, a show air all of its episodes. They'll buy your app, watch a whole bunch of stuff, and then turn it off. Oftentimes within the free trial period. So that crushed us. And what crushed us probably even more is a startup with zero investment outside of Melissa and I. And I worked in startups before. They often have a lot of investment, either from the founders or angel investors or loans or whatever. And because I worked in a startup that closed, that went bankrupt essentially, Melissa and I were not willing to take on personal debt to make the app survive. And we weren't willing to take on a whole bunch of investment, because a lot of times you got to back that first. And so if we couldn't make it from a cash flow point of view, then we weren't going to do it. So I think had we been okay doing either of those, the app could have survived. But I think I've learned from what I needed to learn from it. And I'm moving into a new direction. We're getting into independent films, which is what I wanted to do years ago prior to the app. But I don't take anything negatively. I think I needed to do the app and try, and everything I learned from that will be valuable to me on my next adventure. So I look at all these things with fondness because it's all part of the story. It's all about learning and growing. You know, in order to throw a touchdown, you're going to have to throw some interceptions. You know, so I think that's how I approach it versus like, I'm always either in or out, doom or gloom, and everything's not as black and white as that.
Yeah. So you put money into the app, but you're also putting in money into Churchy at the same time.
Yep.
How does that process work? Because you and Liz are basically putting money into 2 different things. One is about to take off, one is not.
This is why the app is closed. Because it often felt like an endless pit of like dream chasing. And it's like, I didn't want to get to the point where Melissa and I had some tough conversations. She was like, I sometimes feel like you're going to bet the farm on this all the time. Brother, the cows are dead. The grass is burnt.
The sheep, though. That
Yeah.
churchy sheep, the churchy sheep, they do
3
good.
sheep over there, we gonna make it. So, I've willed myself to so many things, but she was right. I didn't want to risk our own family structure on this. You don't want to be the dad who bet the kids' college on this business that failed. So I had to come to grips with, like, brother, you might not be able to succeed with this.
How hard was that?
Very hard. Because I don't like to lose. I'm competitive in everything. We playing taboo, I'm going to crush you. I'm going to destroy you. I don't care if you're my grandma. Too bad. You said that word, buzz. Y'all done, But she was right. And again, going back to my ultimate goal is to have a stable family at the very end, right? So when it comes to the path that I need to choose, I'm going to veer that way. So, and I also didn't want to be the person who put our family in a tough spot, and doing another churchy like that, another risk like that, we just couldn't do it again. I was like, there's got to be a different way, so that's the other thing about movies. I think there's a different way we can raise the funds. It's in some ways cheaper, and I think we might have more success. But if that doesn't work, then I won't do that either.
Do you know what I realized listening to some of the interviews you've done before and even hearing you talk now? As much as you're a dreamer for stability in the future.
Yeah.
Whereas Liz was coming from a place of she wants stability now.
Yeah.
You want stability in the future. So I'm dreaming to get to that stage.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, that's I love that. I will take that with me and make it seem like I made it up. And I probably will do more interviews about myself. So it'll be like, man, Kev said this thing. And Haych will be like, but that was my thing. And it's cool. You heard it. I will steal it. What's interesting about that. So Melissa and I both grew up with military parents. And the military is not often a job that you get fired from, right? So, and you can get in trouble. They'll throw you in jail. They'll reduce your pay. They'll drop your rank, but they rarely kick you out. Like, you got to do some stuff to get kicked out. So we both grew up with fathers who provided for their family and provided stability for their family. So Melissa's idea of stability is you're going to work that job. You're going to do this and do that. Well, outside of the military, people get fired. They get laid off. And what happened to me, we worked at the Boeing company, which makes, airplanes. Very good job, but has gone through periods of instability. So I was like, nothing's guaranteed, right? I don't want to go in the military. And I actually got kicked out of ROTC, which is like the university. Okay. You train to be in the military. And if you go through all 4 years, you get a job, a more esteemed job.
So you just said you got kicked out?
I got kicked out.
Okay.
Many reasons.
Okay, let's not go into that.
A couple reasons. I'll share with you.
Okay.
You're supposed to memorize the airplanes. Did not. They all looked the same to me. There's 12 fighter planes. I was like, F-16. They had pictures.
Yeah.
No. F-16? No. This for sure is the F-16. No. How many of these are there? I knew the 2 F-16? Planes. I knew the F-16 fighter plane. I knew the C-18 Globemaster III cargo plane. Yeah. Brother, there's 38 planes. Oh, okay. So I'm going to guess 36 of those 38 guesses are going to be wrong. So I didn't like the uniform. The hat was like a short order fried cook hat. Yeah. I didn't like that. I was black in college. We wearing FUBU and stuff. I'm the only one walking around in a uniform. Okay. People are roasting me. What is you doing, Kev? Why are you wearing the Army stuff? First of all, it's not even the Army. I'm not wearing this anymore. Okay. They would catch me not wearing my uniform. Okay. Yep. Okay, bye-bye, Kev. And then we also had something called PT, physical training, twice or once a week. Mm-hmm. We'd have to walk all the way to it was Husky Stadium where, the football team played. It was like a 30-minute walk. 15-minute bike ride. Mm-hmm. I didn't have a bike. And it'd be cold and raining. And you had to be there at 6 a.m. And I'm like, brother, nah, man, not doing that. And they kicked me out for one of those many reasons. And I went in because they sold me on if you go in here, you'll get a scholarship for school. Turns out that's true if you're a fighter pilot. Go back to the planes. Yeah, you don't know the planes. I don't know the planes. I have flat feet. Yep. I have poor vision. And I'm actually too tall. You can't really be
you gotta be
tall.
5'7".
You gotta be like Tom Cruise. Height is optimal. So once I found out they wasn't paying, I was, brother, I'm not doing all this stuff to continue to pay for college. So I say all that to say, once I wasn't going into the military, I realized stability ain't guaranteed anyway. So I'd rather try and, make sure my family is so stable that if X, Y, and Z happens, we're okay still. And I think entertainment for me was my skill set anyway.
Yep.
I didn't really thrive much in traditional jobs. Outside of, I had a bank job that I did sales that for a time I was really good at because I was just funny and charming and personality-wise. And there was a lot of foot traffic. I was able to succeed. And we had a housing market crash. And you actually had to be good at the job and do phone calls. I was like, this is dumb now. And I got fired from that job.
Okay. All right.
Once a thing is dumb to me, it's dumb.
So once it's dumb, it's kind of like, okay, I'm not doing this no more.
I'm out.
Okay.
I'm mentally out. I can be in for a long time. But once I'm out, brother,
Can't get me back in.
I'm done.
Okay.
Can't get me back. That train has left the station. And it's just
not
picking
coming
up.
back?
It's not coming back. The tracks fall off as it goes. It's over with. So that's what happened with that. So
Okay.
safe to say it's worked out. Melissa and I got a couple, before we even took any risks, the one thing I will give myself credit for, before we took any risks like Churchy, I had to make sure we have a fallback plan.
Yep.
Like the XYZ happens, we can fall back. Doing Churchy again on our own dime would cut into that fallback plan. And that was what I wasn't willing to do. I didn't want to put my family in that position.
Yeah. So Churchy 2,
Yeah.
BET. How hard was it for you to relinquish control of an idea that you created? And how hard was it to hear no in some circumstances
I can't even
that
adequately
you've spoken about in the
explain.
bonus?
I cannot even. I was literally watching an episode this morning where the network was wanting to shorten something. And I'm just like, bruh, please. But and that's another reason I'm going back into movies. I told my wife, I don't want people to be able to tell me no. I don't want you to tell me no. I want to listen to people, but I want to be able to veto them.
Okay,
And when somebody else,
you want to have the
I want to
say.
have the last word.
Yeah.
Okay? And I don't care. I want to have it.
Okay.
The network has it.
Yep.
Now, the trade-off is I don't have to fund it.
Yeah.
Right? But that means I've given up my power.
And it's not worth it for that.
It is in certain things. Okay. Now, if I can be honest, what I can say about the network that is valuable, the network and our executive is an amazing creative executive. The blessing of me not being the final say-so is she's really smart. And she's actually smarter than I am at this job. She's had much more experience. And she's not doing things just to do them. Everything she does, and this is not a skill I have yet, is for the better of the show. If it's too long, it needs to be tighter. Jokes, this is not landing. She has no connection. She's not like, well, what is this actor going to think? What is this? She doesn't care. She's dedicated to the good of the show. As a comedian, my dedication is to the joke first. She's dedicated to the story and the show first. Everything else is extra. So in this season, what I'm learning is I need to approach it like that versus the way I do. And the only way I feel like I can do that is to have somebody else see it. That's not me. But one of the best things that happened in my life, Melissa and I saw this actor's movie, and it was a good movie, but it was far too long. I mean, far too long. So long in some senses that it wasn't a good movie anymore. And we listened to the talk back, and the actor was saying, oh, I wrote it, I directed it, I edited it myself. And Melissa was like, you shouldn't have edited it. Because it's hard to edit what you think is funny. And it's hard to tell what the masses will think. And if somebody else can't watch it with no dedication to anything else but the story, it's hard to see that. And I was like, I don't want to be that guy. So for me, that means stepping out of the editing room and letting other people be dedicated to it and seeing how they feel. And then being like, okay, let me fight for this, let me fight for that. But if I do it myself, it will all be long and funny, but the story might not make sense because I'm always going to be dedicated to the joke, the performance, the whatever. And until I can be like her, I need people like her's help. Now, in stand-up, I'm the opposite. I'm like her when it comes to jokes. It don't matter what I thought it was going to be. If it ain't landing, it ain't landing. You try 3 or 4 different ways. you make adjustments. But if it ain't, I would never keep doing a joke that's obviously not working. But I don't necessarily apply that trait to media just yet. Long form media, even my videos. If it ain't landing, I'll cut that joke. I'll cut it down on my short form videos. But like on Churchy, I still was like, we worked so hard and we shot it, and it don't matter. You shoot it because you might not use it.
Is that part of because you feel like you don't have the knowledge yet in that area of the media? So with comedy, you've done this for so long.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I can pick up when this is whatever, you can speak to Liz, and Liz will say, okay, you need to shorten this joke and stuff like that. Is that part of you
Absolutely.
lacking? Okay.
The one thing, this is why Melissa being a string is very helpful. She's also logical, and she's grounded.
Yeah.
My head's in the clouds all the time. She's like, you are not experienced in this yet. You're not an experienced TV writer. You're not an experienced showrunner. You are at the beginning part of that part of your career. So instead of being so ego-filled, she didn't put it as harshly as this, but instead of being so ego-filled, why don't you listen to somebody who's 20, 30 years in that part of the business and lean on them, because they'll make the stuff better. And I was like, you're right. And I think for that reason, I thought Churchy season 2 would be great because it's really well written and funny. But because I've taken myself back out of it, it is actually better than I even thought. It's tighter, punchier than I would have made it. Every episode, if I was at the helm in the edit bay the whole time, every episode would be 5 minutes too long. And in a 22, 25-minute episode, that's a lot. And also, I was watching Abbott Elementary.
Yeah.
Really helpful. That's 22 minutes. They don't sit in jokes for a long time. And you don't have to, it don't got to be 5 minutes of this piece to be good. I think Zach Fox's character is named Tariq. He'll do some really funny stuff, but it's not always long. No. But it's really funny in 25, 30 seconds. I watch The Office is one of my favorite shows.
It's the greatest.
Them bits don't be as long as I think.
No.
They're just really funny. So they feel
longer.
Cold, one of my favorite, rarely do their cold opens even last a minute. No. But, it doesn't have to be long to be good. Rich, who does, Richard Washington does our TV and film, he spent years in the agency world. So he read a lot of scripts, saw a lot of stuff. He's even stronger than me. But he reports to me, I don't want you to tell me what to do. You're my employee, you hush. But he's often right. And him and Melissa talk, and then they come to me, and they tag team me, and they be like, you wrong, you hush. And I think if any wise leader from king to general to coach listens to wise counsel, and if they're wrong, you're wrong. Now, when I also am like, I believe in this, it's a push and pull. But I've had to relinquish some control to make things better. And I think part of the reason that's tough is because what made KevOnStage, there was nobody but me. And I was just years knowing what's funny, trusting this, building it, no views, good views, you know what I'm saying? But what makes KevOnStage Studios isn't the same approach that makes KevOnStage. So in order to go where I want to go next, I've got to be using other people. And also, I don't want to sit in editing bays for hours on end. I don't. I love it, but I'm on to the next thing. So I think it just works better the way it's working now.
Yeah. As we do this interview, you're in the UK. How is it different from the first time you came here? You had the Love Hour podcast.
Yeah.
Real comedians.
Yeah.
How different is it now compared to back then?
I've had pie and mash now.
Oh, gosh.
So that was a dark day. I've learned that if you want to eat good in London, you need to eat ethnic food. Took me 5 trips to learn that. Audience-wise, the first time we had like 300 or 400 people. It was packed out. This church was so hot, and we was way out. It was like an hour and 20 minutes from the city, and people came from far, right? Now, and I was like, I can't believe I'm selling tickets in London. Like, I didn't believe it was going to work, but people from London were like, come. And it was high on my list, but it was also expensive to get here from the States. But we sold out 300. The next time, I think it was like 600, somewhere around there, 400 to 600 the first 2 times. This time it's 3,000 tickets. That's crazy. That's like 3,000 is a lot anywhere, and I didn't even sell this many tickets in the States. In a lot of cities. So I think to have this many fans so far from where I'm from in a different culture, but still very black. You know, black American culture is different from black British culture, but black people be black people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of the things I like traveling in Europe is seeing black people from all across the diaspora. We were in Portugal, and I didn't realize how many black people were in Portugal. We were in Switzerland, all kinds of black people in Switzerland. And all the black people know this. You ain't got to speak English to know. You know what I'm saying? Black people in Italy, you think they're racist in America. They ain't racist in Italy. Them folks will stare at you. I said, okay, come on now. I'd rather you wear a Klan robe than just stare at me. At least I can properly identify you. You know, and even learning in British culture, racism is a lot more quiet. In America, it's much more overt. In British culture, this is what I've heard. But anyway, I said all that to say, it's amazing and unbelievable that I'm able to do what I'm able to do. And, you know, I always get shown so much love in London. Walking through the streets, black people every single day all over be like, what up, Kev? Good to see you. I'm going to be at the show Saturday, or I can't go because I got to work. I don't know why. But everybody's like, I don't know why you ate pie and mash. Ain't nobody told you to do that. Every black person I've seen has been like, you know, ain't nobody told you to do that. Where are the black people in the restaurants you're at? I'm like, y'all right. You know what I'm saying? So it's love to be loved. You know what I'm saying? And to be shown love. So it's great. I don't think I'll ever stop coming to London. I as long as they'll have me, I will keep coming back.
The first time you came, you were with your brother. God rest his soul. How would he feel about where you've got to now, and what would he be saying to you if he was still here?
That's a great question. I think this must have been the year I got nominated for my first NAACP Image Award. My wife threw this big party. We had a huge party. It was so great. He wasn't able to be there. He sent me this video, like telling me how proud he was of me. That's part of the reason there's a meme of me crying. That's what I was talking about, my brother not being here. He was alive then, but he was diagnosed with cancer. And we were very, very, very close. So he sent me this video that I have on my phone. I'll never delete it. And he was like, I'm proud of you, Kev. I'm proud of you. You know, I wish I could be there. He was crying. Super emotional person like me now. And I think as he aged, he got more emotional. Same thing with me. And him dying made me more emotional. But I think pride, immense pride is what he would feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, he actually probably would be here. He was a pull up and show up type of person. You know, just talking to my wife about that. Melissa and I, when he first got sick, the doctors were like, you need to not travel. You need to not. Like, he had to get his basically immune system had to start all over. He had to like get shots all over and stuff because they basically they wiped his hard drive. They were like, you can't travel for a year. He was like, I will do this. And he would go to his son's basketball games. He'd pull up to LA. Probably 10, 12 different occasions. My sons came home from school and he was just in the living room. The last time we came to London, before the Ball brothers, him and his wife came. We went to Spain. We went to Amsterdam. He probably would be here. You know what I'm saying? And I think in my life recently, I've accepted more. The people who love us are never as far away as they feel. I didn't really think of death like that earlier in life, but I think I've accepted that they're closer than we think. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that's just maybe even, it's more comforting to think that, you know, first when I was a kid, I'm like, they're so far away in heaven or, you know, even where they're far away. But I now accept like a couple of my friends, just watching videos and, you know, and maybe comforting myself. I think he's closer and still proud.
You talked about family there. You talked about your sons. How have you grown as a parent, especially over these last few years? Zay going to college, Josiah getting older.
Yeah.
How have you grown as a parent, and what area do you still need to improve on?
I don't even know if I'm grown. I don't think I'm any better. I probably tapped out skill-wise parenting when he was like 10.
Okay.
I'm not any better. I think parenting is phases, and I think the phase we're in now is you raise, you train, they grow, they are close, then you let go. we're in the phase that I was as a teenager too, where nothing with your parents is cool. Everything with your friends is cool. I do have the benefit of some things Melissa and I do with them are cool. Wrestling, still cool. Yeah, WrestleMania. So you take your wins where you can get them. You're not training your kids to live with you forever. So you're actually doing a poor job if they are not equipped to leave. Mm-hmm. So, but like, from the moment you have kids, somebody described it as it's like your heart living outside your body. And I think that's the best description I could come up with. He needs to learn how to drive and stuff, but then you're going to be on the road with them crazy people. So it's just like, you just like fully can't relax.
Yeah.
This is the first trip we've taken where we left them home by themselves, nobody watching them, because, if you're 19, brother, and you can't, brother, we messed up. If you can't stay, you scared, you don't know how to order milk, brother, we messed up. The hope is that they will grow, be able to leave the house and come back. Mm-hmm. But letting go is the tough part. Every phase has tough parts. I think letting go is the tough part. Yeah. Is the tough part one right now.
Have you become the father that you wanted to become when you were younger?
Yeah. My real dad wasn't a part of my life, but my stepdad was. So I had a great example of in the house parents. I wished my parents could have been more present at the things I was doing. Mm. That might have been my only note for them, was like, I was over here hooping and y'all was like, nah, I ain't going to them games. Mm. So I've gone to more of my son's things than my parents have gone to of mine. But I also travel a lot for work, so I've also missed a lot. So I don't think there's a way you can get it perfectly right. But I think I've improved on my parents, and I hope my sons will improve on my parenting. But I don't think any kid will say my parents were perfect and they didn't do anything wrong. And if they do feel like that, then I feel like the parent didn't live a life for themselves. Mm. And I think for me, it's like, it's my life too. I have you, but also I can't lose 20 years of my life making sure you are perfect. Because then you're going to grow up and leave, and then I'm going to have nothing. And I ain't going to do that either. So I think I've done the best job I could at balancing both, and I hope they would agree. But they're going to go to therapy on something. I'm curious to see what they'll say, but you'll figure out a reason to be upset. I'm sure you will.
When all is said and done, and if legacy could talk, what sentences would you want it to say about your life?
Hey, that's a question. I mean, you in your bag. If I could only be remembered for one thing, I would like to be remembered for creating opportunities for others. Mm. That to me is my gift and my purpose. I want people to be like, man, Kev put me on. He helped me. Or people say, I know about this person because of Kev. Mm-hmm. That's what I enjoy the most. If I had another thing, it'd be like, man, he made me laugh. I had some good times. When things sucked or I lost somebody or whatever, I could go to his page or his movie or whatever his thing that he's putting out, and I had a good time. That's probably the other thing. And he loved his family.
My last question to you. With where you're at in life right now, what encouragement or advice would you give to yourself?
Horses don't stop, they keep going. I heard that on TikTok. Horses don't stop, they keep going. The biggest thing I have going for me is I refuse to stop. Mm. Like, there's so many reasons to stop, and you will be fully justified in a lot of them. But I keep pushing and going, and I think my success will be sometimes merely a result of persistence. And it's just like, brother, okay, fine. We'll give you the show, we'll give you the thing, because you're going to figure a way out. And I think that's probably me.
Okay.
Love, blood.
Thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you.
It's been Conversation with Haych with the amazing Fredericks. We've got more.